The Indian government, we're given to understand, is getting uncomfortable over letting state-controlled refiners pay in Russian oil imports with Chinese currency. Now, this has held up the payments for at least 7 cargoes as per media reports. The tussle over payment has not disrupted deliveries so far from Russian firms, and they continue to sell to state-controlled refiners who are seeking an alternative way for settlement. There are also reports that discounts on Russian oil imports will be doubled, nearly have doubled in the past month to $8 to $10 a barrel as state refiners mount pressure on suppliers and reduce intake from Russia and shift geographies. There's been a shift in geographies. In fact, we've been discussing this here on the show. As Russian oil became expensive in the last quarter or so, the discounts came down from $8 to $10 to $4 to $3.
Right.
We looked at other geographies, and come to think of it, as a result of which, Russia is now once again, rolling out that discount to India, which means our partnership with Russia will continue, and we'll continue to get that cheaper oil.
Look, there's no doubt that India has benefited tremendously with cheaper Russian oil. And I think that is something that has kept our economy afloat, and that is something which has kept inflation also partly under check and has kept the GDP also ticking. And current account deficit, of course, narrowing also on account of cheaper oil from Russia than from the Middle East. Now, it is obviously beneficial for India for this relationship to continue. But then India has also hit a roadblock, and this is something that, we have been talking about ourselves for a very long time, that India should never have agreed to settle trade bills with Russia using the Chinese currency. Now, obviously, because of the sanctions, we can't settle trade bills using the Russian ruble. And Russia, because of its advantage on trade over India, does not want to accept INR. And USD is out of the window completely because it is completely paper and which can be trashed by Russia because US dollars cannot be exchanged by Russia given the sanctions. So overall, India has not been able to settle trade bills in ruble. Russia does not want to settle trade in INR, and the midway is geographically as well as economically the Chinese yuan. Now, what India has been doing apparently is using whatever Indian companies which held on to yuan as a hedge have started offloading that to settle trade payments. And in case Indian government has bought yuan and is looking at settling the Russian trade using that currency, we are giving a fillip to artificially to the yuan, which we want to avoid definitely. Now, because of this stalemate, there are apparently 7 containers of oil which are yet to be settled when it comes to trade payment. And if that settlement doesn't happen, I'm not sure how happy Russia is going to be with that arrangement. So, overall, I think we will have to arrive at a situation that the Vostro accounts, which were very popular, which not very popular in fact, but the government was really trying to push for them, that we should be able to transmit money into the Vostro accounts, which Russia can use for the rest of trade that it does in India outside of oil. So I think if you're able to impress upon that, but Russia is not very keen on that simply because Russia exports more to India than it imports from India. So it's not very happy keeping money in Indian banks to use within the geographies of India.
A very tricky situation.
Very tricky situation, but settling trade through yuan should definitely not be an option. Even while India has benefited from cheap Russian oil, Russia has also found a great partner in India, right?
Absolutely.
Apart from China and India, how many other large economies are buying Russian oil? I doubt there are too many.
All right, so in the Indian government, they're making it obvious that they don't want to continue trading in yuan with Russia on Russian oil.